Flag bearer hopeful of the NDC, Dr. Kwabena Duffour has dragged leadership of the party to court in an interlocutory injunction to restrain the party from holding its Congress this weekend. Dr. Duffour had earlier raised concerns about the credibility of the party's voters register, which he says is fraught with several discrepancies. Court correspondent Joseph Akable joins me with excerpts of that rate. So what are the demands of Dr. Duffour in that rate, Joseph?
Substantively, they are asking that the court puts the upcoming primaries on hold. That is the main relief that they are seeking, and restrains the Electoral Commission, for that matter, from organizing the primaries. They've also gone ahead to file an application for an injunction, and interestingly, that application for injunction is to be moved on the 15th. In terms of the documents that have been filed, they make quite a number of allegations in terms of the analysis that they've carried out regarding what they found when they received the register or the photo album from the party. They say that upon verification, it was found that the number of constituencies on the hard drive given to their representatives was 220, as opposed to the number of 228 that the party has indicated to be conducting the elections in terms of the constituencies. They say that after the initial verification also, they realized that there were some discrepancies in that there were some persons who, about 3,910 eligible voters, who have been disenfranchised. So persons who are supposed to be part of the electoral system who have been taken off. They also make the point that there are some individuals who have been added that they cannot simply vouch for them. Then they talk about repetitive names. They say in some instances, the names and identification is the same, but you realize that there is some slight difference by way of the person's identity. And so this is what they put before the court by way of the evidence, and saying that they are that the photo album register put out by the second defendant with the knowledge and consent and tacit approval of the first defendant will compromise the integrity of the elections and very much to the detriment of Dr. Kwabena Duffour. They therefore maintain that the reluctance to extend the time for the internal elections and provide a complete and credible photo album marks of a plan to create undue advantage for manipulation of the presidential primaries. And so this is the basis of the request that they are making to the court, that it puts this upcoming primary on hold.
Joseph Akable is court correspondent. Meanwhile, the head of the NDC legal team says they are exploring the option of having the case decided before May 13, so the party can go ahead with its primaries.
The party has not flouted any regulations, because the regulations don't talk about photo album. It talks about delegate list, which has been made available to them way back in March.
Are you telling? Okay, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Now you talk about discrepancies. This happens. It's a commonplace. When these things happen, we invite the aspirants into a meeting with the elections committee. And while that meeting is taking place or is going on, there's somebody who is sitting with a computer, and then the corrections are inserted. This was a meeting that would have happened yesterday, but they abandoned the meeting and ran to court. So it is not as if when you are doing such an exercise, which covers about 356,624 delegates. Our delegates are 356 rather, 356,624. There will definitely be some challenges, but what normally happens is for all the consensus of their representatives to come and sit with the election directorate, and then these corrections are made. You don't need to go to court on this. So what we are doing is to use the rules of court that allow for such things to happen, where this matter will be heard before Saturday. So we are exploring the use of legal instruments within the confines of the law to ensure that this matter is heard before Saturday that I've received calls from delegates all over the country. My last call came from Sandema, and they are livid. I'm not surprised that those texters are saying that clearly the number of votes that Dr. Duffour will have garnered will be reduced by this action that he has taken. This is not in the best interest of the party. For you to file a frivolous and a vexatious research as this, just to thwart the effort of the party in its forward march, it's mind-boggling, particularly when it's coming from a very senior member of the party who should have known better.
Dr. Duffour's team is, however, hopeful that the party will put the primaries on hold and deal with their concerns. Antonio Edemasinho, a spokesperson for Dr. Duffour.
Let me take you through some of the concerns or some issues we identified in the register. We identified that 54% of the delegates in the photo album, their identities are yet to be identified. We identified again that 28% of delegates in the section list had no information at all. 2% of the names were additionally added to the register, and it's important to note that the percentage can be higher after the identities have even been verified. Again, 26% of the NDC delegates were missing from the register. We could not find them. The percentage again can be higher if the identities have been verified. Then there were duplicated photos, there were duplicated voters' IDs, unidentified persons were added onto the register, the full extent to which we really cannot speak to since we don't have the entire document. And 46% of the register cannot be validated with correct voter ID, party ID, photo, gender, polling station number, or police station code. So after identifying all this, what did Dr. Duffour's team do? We put together the documents and the evidence and attached to a letter. And in the letter, we suggested that looking at the number or the seriousness of the concerns or the irregularities with the register, it would be only prudent that the party postpones it, calls all stakeholders to a meeting, agree on a time frame for us to work or correct these anomalies. Then we can go into an election knowing that we are all satisfied with the document that is essential, the outcome. The posturing of the party is not one that gave, let me use the correct expression, individuals and the leaders of the party did not give the correct posture. Since we have no issue at all, as we speak, that document that was given to the party, there's not been any response to it. And for me, it's important to know that if we are serious about winning power in 2024, this eternal contest will be a test case for it. We need to be thorough, we need to respect opponents, we need to be able to do the right thing. And what else would Dr. Duffour do after exhausting all the internal structures of the party? It's to resort to legal to the court. And that is the only right thing to do. We are not going to demonstrate or be anti-party. We will use the law to correct whatever wrongs we've identified.